The Witch of Berkeley. About the time of the Norman conquest, according to the chronicler William of Malmesbury, there was a woman living in the little town of Berkeley who had many sons and daughters. She was rich and plump and well liked, and spent most of her time in feasting and revelry. One evening as she sat at table, her pet raven cried out a single harsh note of warning and dropped dead to the floor. The woman paled and fell back in her chair, exclaiming, "Now has my plough come to its last furrow. Now my days of rejoicing are past and my sorrows begin." No sooner than she had spoken than a messenger came running with the news of the death of her eldest son and all of his family. More bad news quickly followed, and the distraught woman took to her bed. Realizing she was at the point of death with no hope of recovery, she entreated the help of two of her remaining children, a monk and a nun of great piety. She confessed that her life had been one of fearful wickedness, and that all her wealth had been given to her by the devil in exchange for her soul. Now the time had come to pay the reckoning, and the only way her children could save her was to wrap her body in a stagskin, place it in a stone coffin bound with 3 iron chains, and set the coffin upright in the church. She must then have psalms sung over her body for 40 nights, and masses said for 40 days. If on the 3rd day after that her coffin remained unmolested, she could be buried in the churchyard. At last she died, and all was done as she wished. But on the first night a crowd of demons swarmed in and snapped the first chain. On the second night the same thing happened, and the second chain was broken. But the third and most potent magic chain still remained whole against all the efforts of the hideous demons. On the third night the church shook to its foundations, the great doors splintered on its hinges, and a single terrible figure strode in and called on the Witch of Berkeley to follow him. She answered from within the coffin, "I cannot come, my lord, I am bound." "I will unbind you," he said, "to your great loss." With that, the stranger tore the final chain away and smashed the stone coffin with a single kick, and seized the living corpse of the witch. He dragged her outside to the churchyard, where a great black horse stood waiting, its body covered with spikes. She was flung onto them with such force that she was pierced through. The rider leapt up, and all 3 vanished into the darkness. But it was said that the witch's screams and pleas for help on that dreadful night could be heard by people miles away.